Welcome back to Ozarks Live. Blake and I are back once again, but this time we're here to talk about the Amazing Race.
Yes, the race around the world, which is super exciting.
Okay, Blake, I have actually never watched this show before.
Okay.
So I'm having a blast,
Yes.
and now I want to go be on this show
Yes.
because it looks like so much fun.
It is. It looks like so much fun, but I will say it looks like a lot of high stress. I think if I was to pick a partner, I would have to be very particular in who I pick.
I would say it has to be somebody you know really well. You
Yes.
know how they handle stress really
Absolutely.
well, and that you can just get along and be respectful even under those high, intense stress periods.
And most importantly, good communication skills.
Oh, yeah.
Because some of these couples,
And
I'm like, I don't know about that.
It helped to have someone kind of smart too, because some of these puzzles are
Yeah, I don't know.
out.
I'm not a good puzzle person, so I would not be good at that.
It's just really interesting to me that there's so many different challenges,
Yeah.
like from, picking out the right flags for who's in the EU to putting together, like I said, a puzzle, you know?
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So overall, this premiere was jam-packed, super exciting.
Yes.
But it was a lot.
And I do have trouble keeping track of so many people in here.
Yeah.
And there was one couple that I was familiar with before, the Holderness.
Yeah.
They're a couple, they've been married, they do these YouTubes. And
Family videos and stuff kind of.
yeah. Oh, and they're hilarious. I keep up with them.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, they're on there. I know
Yeah.
them,
Yeah, absolutely. So just to kick it off, so we have the first and second legs that took place in this because it was a 2-hour premiere. So they immediately arrive in London and they go through different detours. So we see the pair that did got the Paris terrorist attack, they attacked the Paris train.
That's another one I remember seeing that I knew of. Yes.
They won. They killed it in that
was
first leg.
amazing, and I was so rooting for them.
And then we see the singing policemen from Buffalo go out.
Fun little group.
Which they were fun, but honestly, I wasn't that mad they went out. I didn't have a huge attachment to them, so I was like, okay, it's the first episode, right?
Right.
And then the second leg, we see our boys from Missouri, Dusty and Ryan. They take the win, and they killed it. They did. Just far and beyond the rest of the competition.
I like them.
Yes, me too. And then we see the twins. The radio host twins, they take last, but they're not eliminated. And so that's a fun fact about Amazing Race is there's always a last place team, but not everyone is always eliminated each leg, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I thought they're last, they're going to find out, and they're going to go out crying because they were not getting along at that point.
Yeah.
I think they're a little bit, they're a dynamic duo, I'll say that.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about duo dynamics a little bit.
Yes.
So like I said earlier, you have to, I think, be so particular in who you choose to compete with on this show. One kind of observation I made from this premiere specifically is married couples. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 married couples on this season, and you see some who are yelling at each other and I'm like, that seems a little toxic. I don't know about that. And then you have some that are really supportive and sweet. It was really interesting because, one great example of this, right? So you have the married educators from the Northeast somewhere. They were the ones who made this really, really cool after school program. Oprah kind of came and helped with it. It's a huge deal, right? So you're like, oh, they're going to be great. I'm going to root for them.
No.
And then the man is yelling at his wife the entire time. He's like, faster, hurry up. I'm like, you need to be supportive of her.
I was feeling very bad for her then. But I understand his frustration too, because she's trying to win $1 million. So let's go ahead and hurry.
Absolutely.
But then she was struggling, and then there was this tension that was very uncomfortable to watch.
It was a lot. But I will say, I think there's also room for growth within their own kind of style with playing, because you have Connie and Sam, who they had that very Blindside-esque story. He's the high school football coach. He takes in the young man who was either homeless or something kind of like that, just in a bad situation. So they take him in, and they were kind of the same way. It felt like they kind of had really poor communication in that first leg, but the second leg, they're really sweet to each other, and they pick it up, and they end up in second place right behind Dusty and Ryan.
So maybe it takes a little bit of just kind of getting into the groove of how this is going to work and how we are going to communicate on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I listened to a couple different podcasts this week that involve some of these contestants. So we talked about the Holderness family.
Yes.
Huge internet people. They're always posting their lives everywhere with their kids and such. But they kind of did this hour-long deep dive into the behind the scenes of what the show looks like. And I learned a lot of really interesting things. So one was that, and I was kind of wondering this too watching it, but Kim Holderness had said that she asked production prior to filming, she's like, do you guys know about COVID? Because for those that don't know, these first couple of legs were filmed in February of 2020, which was right before the pandemic hit.
Right.
And apparently all CBS told them is, we know we're not going to Asia. And that was all they had said.
Yeah.
But something else I found out that I thought was interesting is that Kim said that all of the passports are pre-stamped before they go on to the show.
That
so
is
you
super
technically
interesting.
see where you're going. So like one interesting thing she mentioned was that when they got their passports back prior to filming, Nepal was included. So she was like, I knew that something was going to change if they said we're not going to Asia anymore. You know what I mean? So that was really
legal
interesting.
to stamp your
Yeah.
passport before you're actually walking through?
Okay, that's kind of what I'm wondering too, but I'm like, maybe CBS just knows the right people. You know?
Apparently
I don't know.
they
I guess
do.
when you've been doing it for 33 seasons, that's what you get to do. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. But also, there was an interesting kind of personal piece from Ken Holderness, which was that he shares in kind of the first hour that he has always struggled with ADHD.
Okay.
And you see that it kind of hurts him and helps him. So in the first hour, we see that they're doing this like London puzzle thing in this like underground area. And he's like, oh, this is great, you know, because he's like with ADHD, when you can fixate on something, it's really helpful.
And he did.
Yeah, and he just
focused
like
right in on that
Yes.
and was so serious.
Yes.
And I was pretty impressed. I'm not sure I could have done that.
Yeah, that puzzle looked. So I would have been like the Buffalo Singers, how they were just like pasting random things on the wall. That would
They didn't even know it was a puzzle. They're like, let's just put it on the
I would have
wall.
been, I would have been absolutely so confused. But on the flip side of that, in the second hour, we see Ken doing the mail rail challenge, where they hop in this like little train thing and they go back and they have to sort through mail, and you see him overthinking himself for so long when he found the clue in like 2 minutes.
Then he went on. He thought that couldn't be the whole thing. So
absolutely.
he was still going through all the other mail.
Yes.
That it's like, would he waste another 30 minutes or something after that?
Seriously. And they would have had a great lead. And so that was one big thing they talk about, is that kind of contrast of that makes it really difficult in that way, where it's like sometimes it's really helpful and sometimes it almost hurts you.
And it did.
So, and then this other podcast I've been listening to. So, as you guys may remember from when I interviewed Dusty and Ryan last week, Ryan was wrongfully imprisoned for like upward 10 years, which is super crazy. Crime he never committed. If you need a like good little story to go read, literally go check his story out in full depth. I read more after I interviewed him, and it's really fascinating. Anyway, all that to say, he started this brand new podcast called Prison Counts. And it's where him and a buddy of his that he met in prison, who are obviously both out now, essentially kind of dissect the American criminal justice system. And they interview different former prisoners and investigators. It is intense.
Wow.
It will make your heart race a little fast.
Yeah.
But it's very, very eye-opening into the way like prisoners are treated in our country. And I'll say one of my favorite parts about it, and Ryan has said this a lot, is that one of his missions after serving for 10 years for crime he never committed is that he wants to humanize prisoners, which I think is really interesting, because I think that's something we really struggle with is, you know, we typically see them as these like bad guys, you know, and we're like, oh,
this
whatever.
is something that I would love to like dive deep into and really hear
and
all
so
that
it's
he has to
really,
say.
really, really fascinating, and it's definitely worth the listen. Like I said, it's intense. I would not necessarily recommend it for like your kids per se. I would recommend them to stay off of it, but for parents, like it's great. It's really good. It's really fascinating. And I think it just helps you appreciate Ryan a little more. Like now I'm like even more excited to watch him tomorrow night. You know what I mean?
I love that they bring in the personal stories every time.
Yeah, absolutely. So next episode, kind of to what look forward to. Supposedly they film in Glasgow, Scotland, which is super cool. I've always wanted to go to Scotland, but I've
I've
never
been there.
You
It's
have?
amazing. Yeah.
Okay,
I can't wait to
cool.
watch this episode.
I've been to London. So when I was watching the premiere, I was like freaking out the entire time. I studied away there while I was in college. So that was really fun to watch. But I'm excited to watch the Scotland leg. However, what's interesting is that supposedly this is the last leg before they shut down the show. So as you guys may know, Phil has referenced this several times in press releases prior and on the premiere. So apparently they do this last leg in Scotland, and then they just like shut it down. They send them all home. And then in next week's episode, we find out more about what happens when they come back. And there's a lot of rumors circulating on what that could look like.
Plug that there's a lot that's changing and why this is going to be so different, but they don't tell us why.
Yeah,
what.
we have no idea.
So I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I'm interested. I think that like less teams may be coming back. I'm interested to see kind of how the race was affected by COVID, because like, you know, a big thing right now is you see, you know, like the flight attendants, they kept like hugging everybody and asking people for directions, and like, that's obviously not a thing after COVID,
It's
you know,
all
not with
gonna be
strangers at
different.
least, yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, I am very interested to see how this all plays out. But yeah, I'm excited to keep going with this segment with you. It's going to be a really fun couple of weeks.
Thanks for bringing me into this.
Absolutely. You guys can watch tonight's episode of The Amazing Race right here on Colored 10 at 7 o'clock. And then you can also, of course, catch up on Paramount Plus and CBS.com.
We'll be right back.